A federal judge has temporarily blocked a Trump administration freeze on federal grants and loans that could total trillions of dollars.
The judge blocked the action this afternoon, just minutes before it was set to go into effect. The ruling puts a hold on the freeze until Monday. The White House had planned to start the pause as they begin an across-the-board review of federal spending.
Social Security and Medicare benefits are excluded from the order. Maine's congressional delegation, along with Governor Mills, are speaking out against the administration's proposal. Senator Angus King said today the freeze is unconstitutional.
The actions of the administration last night in essentially freezing funding for programs across the country in every department is, in my view, the most egregious assault on the power of the institution of Congress in American history. Basically render Congress's power, which are laid out in Article 1 of the Constitution, a nullity.
Senator Susan Collins also reacting to the order, saying in part, there certainly is justification to take a hard look at some programs, but this is far too sweeping and will cause disruption in the administration of a lot of important programs and services.
On Facebook, Congressman Jared Golden said his office has been fielding questions all day from Mainers concerned about the freeze and called on Trump to release the funds. He writes, quote, "I'm working to track down those answers and ensure congressionally approved funds are sent out the door, because the reality is simple. Congress controls federal appropriations, not the executive branch."
Representative Shelley Pingree called the move an unprecedented and illegal assault on constitutional power, saying in part, "I understand the appeal of cutting government spending, but the impacts of an indiscriminate across-the-board freeze like this will have profound consequences for millions of taxpayers."
Governor Mills expressing her concern as well, saying in part, "I have serious questions about the extent and scope of his decision, the impact it will have on Maine people and businesses, especially the most vulnerable in our state, and his legal authority to issue such an edict. My administration is evaluating the effects of this order, but it is already clear to me that it is causing entirely needless chaos and confusion." You can read the full statements from all five on our website.